What? Yeah. No, I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now, I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Pharaoh from Monte the Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monte the Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts. There's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh. Later.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV. At the board, Spidey, Jared, how are you, bud?
My mic's not plugged in.
His mic's not plugged in. He's doing well.
It's Sunday and his mic's not plugged in.
Yeah, boy.
All right.
What up, Spidey?
We got the special edition with our special guest, the Godwinns. But before that,
Okay.
Democrats retain control of the Senate with victory in Nevada. Democrats will continue to control the Senate following the 2022 midterm elections. After Nevada, after Catherine Cortez on Saturday projected CBS News over Republican Adam Laxalt, who now, after our show on Thursdays, it looks like Mick Foley's going to put his hat in to become a politician. What do you think of that?
When can I go to move out of the country?
You know, we got a Democrat.
I don't want
one of the
Godwinns wanting anything.
We've had every wrestler
Except his mouth.
imaginable in this studio, and every one of them were a hardcore Republican.
Just about.
Except for...
Except We'll get to Ant in a minute. Go ahead.
Except for Midian. Want to call him Midian? When he's... if he's a Democrat, we call him Midian.
There you go.
He came, he showed up dressed, so he's not naked. So, yes, we can go with Midian.
It's early.
So how you feel about the Democrats having a seat?
You know what I feel? I think that it's kind of odd that America is supposed to be in concept united, yet even in our politics, we're completely divided in the House. Okay, now we got the House. How is this all for one and one for all anyway in concept? I don't want Jets versus Giants. That's all we got. That's all this is. And it's going to be my way now because I control it. You know, I don't like it in premise, especially the way it's become because we have such extreme opinions on both sides. How the hell are we ever going to get back in the middle? Boy, do we need a president where both sides can go, I dig this guy. Where is that person? You know, where is he? And what I'm even more afraid of is according to prophecies, because Pharaoh gets a little superstitious sometimes, not all the time. When this guy does show up, it's the signal of the end of the world. So, you know, I don't know what to think. You know, is that a kind of a deep answer? I'm sorry.
No, it's a good answer.
And I'll say this much.
I don't think there's ever been a president that united both the Democrats and the Republicans.
I wonder about JFK though, because we weren't around for that. He seemed so beloved, so I'm not sure. You know, I would have to ask those who are possibly still around from those days. But
did you guys know anything about Kennedy? Were you young men at that point? Did your parents ever talk to you about that?
68.
Okay.
Okay.
He's younger than us. Yeah, you're younger than us, dude.
Yeah.
You speak louder, please.
Did your parents ever discuss Kennedy with you?
Big fan. My entire family.
He seemed loved by everybody.
Yeah, everybody liked him.
You know,
and then,
or was that because of his untimely demise?
That's always the case. Sometimes somebody becomes a different person after they die.
Right.
You know, because it's kind of like the Bible, all right? It's not actually what God said. It's what this guy said and this guy said and
Right.
this guy said.
Right.
My Democratic family was really big into Reagan, though.
Interesting.
Everyone loved Reagan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I thought Reagan was
Big on
fantastic.
Reagan.
Everybody loved Reagan.
You know,
yeah.
but what? Not to cause controversy, but I'm going to try to keep this simple, especially with the, they still own whatever the hell they own now after the elections. Look, to me, there's some basic stuff. Are you keeping us safe? Can I afford to eat, and can I afford to put gas in my car? Right? These to me are the basics. Are you keeping us safe? Can I afford to eat? Can I afford to put gas in my car?
Or can you afford to go back on unemployment and be taken care of?
Right.
Because that's important to you.
What?
Well,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, give me a second. We'll talk about that later.
Yes,
anyway,
I'll get with you on
but
that, too.
the bottom line is that it's getting harder and harder. So I don't care who's in office right now. It's not working for me.
Nobody.
That's the bottom line.
No one is
You know what I'm
working,
saying? So try to find something to get us in trouble with for that. YouTube, but whatever.
Now
you
we're
know?
suspended. Great job.
Yeah. There
no,
you go.
But I agree with you guys.
That's all right. I don't
saw,
have a job anyway.
Yeah,
What's the
a
difference?
video on Instagram of a 21, 22-year-old kid who was crying because he worked 25 hours a week at Starbucks, and they made him come in and work an entire shift of 8 hours. And he was crying because he thought that they needed to become unionized so that wouldn't happen to other people. After I just did 42 hours in 3 days in the kitchen, and I see this guy, and I'm like, I am peace, love, everybody. I'll call you whatever you want to, be called and everything. But I'm a huge Jordan Peterson fan, and I like the stuff about we are losing our men. You know what I mean? One of my chefs that I work with has turned me on to all this. I say, be whatever you want to be. I'll call you whatever you want. It doesn't bother me. But take care of your family. Go to work. Be a productive member of society. You know what I mean? Pay for gas. Pay for a house. Protect your family. Nowadays, especially all the kids that I work with from 30 under are just so fucking lazy and so whiny and so entitled.
Maybe they should be on the unemployment
Oh
line.
my God. That's what happened. I think.
Maybe they should
Yeah.
be.
The pandemic.
Yeah.
But here lies the problem, right?
Yes.
And with all due respect, gentlemen, you had kids making $100, $200 a week. The government decides to pay them $700 a week plus extra money, and what do? They spend their money on autographed pictures of former professional wrestlers, making all these agents hundreds and thousands.
Yeah.
This is reality. I'm being
I know,
honest.
I know.
They're flying you guys
Or
in.
spending their money on NFTs or
Thank
something
you.
stupid
Thank you.
like
Right.
that. Crypto.
Right.
Dude, when the zombies come, ain't nobody going to have any.
You
good
can't
money,
keep someone employed. I'm a director of operations. You can't keep someone employed. They come and go as they please. They quit as they please. They do
And we
what they
have
want.
to be so gentle with them now because our general manager
You
says,
think?
"Oh, you can't make them mad." Okay, this is fucking perfect example.
right.
We have a person there that is the worst employee in the kitchen.
Really? Do tell.
She does nothing but cause problems. It's an older black woman, and I love her as a person, but she is a terrible employee. And they just made her employee of the month because our dishwashing machine broke, and she didn't quit during that time. Over the last 2 months, she's been written up twice and gotten into arguments with several people in the middle of the kitchen. And they just fucking made her employee of the month because they didn't want her to get upset and go cry to somebody above them.
Nothing like appeasing shit on the shingle.
It
I'm
shows
sorry.
that there is no accountability,
It's
at
going
least
around.
at my job right now.
Yeah.
There's no accountability.
Right.
So
Me thinks you're a Republican, sir.
You sound
I
like
know.
one.
Me thinks
I
you're a
know.
Republican,
You're not a
sir.
Democrat.
I know. I am a.
We've
maybe
Monte
a
the
Bill
Pharaoh
Maher.
have turned him.
Maybe a Bill Maher.
It's any
role.
minute's got to come out.
Yeah.
You're right.
No,
All right.
I think
Yeah.
that's what's great about Jordan Peterson and that. I mean, I love everybody. I go outside, and what I want to do is, my grandma said, make everyone's day you meet. Make everybody happy. That's what I try to do. But unfortunately, in the last 10 years, those kind of people that were raised by their grandparents and their mothers working and getting their ass kicked, or we're getting older and older, and the people coming up behind us are soft as fuck,
Yeah. No.
You hit it right on
want,
the head.
Where's mine? Well, you owe this to me.
Right.
Where is it?
Where-
well,
what is
come
that?
work for me and I'll take care of you.
Right.
No. You
Right.
owe this to me. Give it to me now.
The most frustrating thing for me is I feel like We're all being played.
Yeah, we are.
And these two sides are wealthy as can be and don't give a flying fuck
About
it.
anybody.
Personally,
Yeah.
that's how I feel about it. And
Yeah.
we're all getting crazy on each other.
I know.
I don't like your opinion. I don't like your opinion.
I say it all the time.
The fat gets
as
fatter.
long as today's youth can carry an iPhone, China could walk through this country.
Exactly.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm a military guy.
He's right.
My belief is everybody should have gone to the military to become a man.
I was raised by Marines.
God
I can
bless.
go with you.
And
Yeah.
whoever they were, your parents.
Grandfather, father, stepdad.
Well, thank you for their service.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, what's happened to my country.
I agree. I have a lot of Republican views, obviously,
Yeah.
but it just goes back to the, I want these people. I want AOC to help people. I want, because McConnell ain't going to do it. Dr. Oz ain't going to do it.
No.
Herschel Walker, did he end up winning?
No, they lost.
Thank God. Holy shit.
What was he running for? An oversized contract?
Georgia Senate, right?
Georgia Senate.
Wow.
Yes. I am against abortion. We have proof that you have taken several people to an abortion clinic. No, I didn't. It's that Trump thing. Just keep lying until they either stop asking you about it or believe it, Separate the people, through the apps on their phones. There was a rapper who did a thing, and then control the media and then, put out fear and everything. And that's how they get it.
Well, that's what Foley was saying, and we kind of ripped them apart for it because,
Kind of?
Both sides use their fake
fear,
news,
yeah.
okay?
Propaganda.
This has been what's going on in this world. And you know what? It was probably being done way before we
Of
all
course.
were involved,
Probably.
right?
Oh,
Before you just believed it.
Yeah.
If it's on the news, you believe it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You were
Right.
told what it is. So,
Yes.
maybe ignorance back then is bliss, right? Because
Yeah.
now we're not so ignorant anymore.
Well, we had 3 news channels, and you didn't question the news. Unfortunately, and nowadays with all of the streaming and 24-hour news cycle of everything, you don't know who to trust. It's like,
No.
if I don't see it on Fox, that it's not true. Fox doesn't tell me. MSNBC. When I wake up in the morning, I start with Stephen Colbert and I watch his stuff, and then I watch a little MSNBC, then I watch a little CNN, then I'll jump over to Newsmax or OAN.
sick over there.
Newsmax or
do
OAN.
you watch
just
Bill Maher at all?
Huh?
Do you watch Bill Maher at all?
Oh, all the time. Every
So
week.
let me ask you, are you religious?
Yes, I believe in God. I am not. I think organized religion is one of the worst things that ever happened to the planet. But I believe in God, and I'm very
So
spiritual.
let me ask you this: do you find it offensive that Bill Maher
Is
thinks
a
that
atheist?
religion is a joke and that we're idiots for believing in God?
Being an
or-
atheist
No,
is one thing.
I don't,
Laughing
because-
at somebody
yes.
else's beliefs is another.
Yeah, well, look at Donald Trump then. He's doing the exact same stuff, but with different things, making fun of I'm for the women. I'm the most religious president there ever was. Can you name please name one of your favorite Bible passages? Oh, well, I can't think of one right now. Oh, no, really, Mr. Trump, anyone? Well, I can't really think. They just don't believe anything other than what I tell you. Don't ask me any questions. Just believe what I say. It was rigged. It wasn't rigged. Do you guys think it was rigged?
I will never be. I'll
ahead.
answer first.
Yeah.
I'll take this on. I was disgusted and uncomfortable, and will never be comfortable with a mail-in vote.
Never.
Never.
Yeah.
There's nothing, and it doesn't mean I know for
course.
sure
Yeah.
anything.
Okay.
I just know this much. Something smells. That's wrong.
it's-
The
What is
machines
this
don't even work.
mail-in
The machines
stuff?
don't even work half the time.
What is this?
Okay.
Well, that's a whole nother thing.
Yes,
But
that's-
when we were approaching the whole process, they broke to us. There's going to be a mail-in.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And it was never shown how this was determined or how this was broken down. So you'll excuse me
But haven't
if I
we been-
feel a little weird about that.
Haven't we been doing mail-in voting for what, since the 50s?
If we have, we certainly didn't make it this clear
Donald
to
Trump
our
was a mail-in
conscience.
voter his whole,
Did you ever watch
his
the
whole life.
movie The Irishman?
I have not seen it. I
So,
can't get past that 3
and I'm not
going
going
to
to say this because it'll get us suspended, but this
Right.
would not be the only presidential election that was questioned.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I'm sure this has been going on
So that
forever.
was probably
and ever.
Kennedy or something?
Right.
That
That
what
is
you're-
correct, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's mob related, right?
Sure.
So
Well, yeah, their
Oh, yeah.
dad
Who knows?
made a deal with the mafia to protect the ports, and then, then we'll help get your son elected president, and then,
Who
old
knows?
man
and then you'll
Kennedy
take care of
just says-
our casinos,
Exactly.
and then
Right.
someone grew a conscience,
Yeah.
and Here you go.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Exactly. I think it was when Bobby became the AG
That is correct.
Yeah.
You don't even need to watch the movie.
Fucking think I'm some kind of stupid hog farmer
You know what?
hillbilly, huh?
We say this all the time. Pro wrestlers have some of the best opinions, except for Mick Foley, have some of the best opinions and are some of the most intelligent people. That's why I like to hear your opinions, because you're pretty intelligent. So, and
Just
again,
do the work. Just do the work. Anybody that only this is, oh, I heard this. This is what it is. Okay, well, look over here.
Foley's
What
got
do
an
they say? What do they
agenda.
say?
Foley's got an
Does he?
agenda, and that's my problem. But part of my problem with Foley is that he's talking about fake this and fake that and Trump and whatever else.
Yay,
With all
Trump
due
or boo
respect,
Trump?
he's
Boo
anti-Trump,
Trump, yeah.
which is fine.
Yeah, no.
But Foley has no problem getting handed $10,000 to sign some pictures.
The guy's trying
To me, that's major capitalism.
The
So
guy-
how can you give me this democratic nonsense when you're one of the biggest capitalists I know?
Yeah.
Yes, and then ask him to give part of that to all of the other, you can go socialism or communism. Oh, here's that $10,000, Mick, but you owe this guy a part of it, and this guy a part of it, and this guy a part of it, That then turns into like communism. So it's like, no, I want it, it's all mine.
Thank you.
I want
Thank
it.
you.
It's mine.
I got a millionaire telling me, don't worry about the crush and the feel of having to buy a quarter pounder at McDonald's. Don't worry. Mick, you don't worry about when you order food at McDonald's. I do.
Yeah.
I have to figure out if I can afford this meal so I can get to next Tuesday. Mick doesn't have that problem.
Yes.
Don't sit there and preach to me. I made you rich.
Yes.
Idiots like me
Absolutely.
made you rich, and you sit there and you're like, oh, don't worry about that quarter pounder with cheese. The price will go down. Don't worry about the gas. It'll go down. You want to float me $50,000 for a few months, Mick?
Yeah. Okay.
Since I made you this wealthy, you're telling me not to worry about
I
it?
agree
Shut
that
up, bro.
He shouldn't be pushing that hard on that.
Yeah.
But he, of all people, I mean, he's one of my, I've known him for a million years. He's one of my idols in wrestling. He earned his wrestling money. No,
Absolutely.
No question. Yes. But
Absolutely.
Then to become a different person when
Right.
you're done.
Right.
Or like those people who were like, it was funny because all the baby faces usually are assholes. And all the heels were always the nice guys and everything, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, well, if you didn't know it, this is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Farrow, along with his partner, Bart Griggs, make up the band Wisteria Hall. Catch Wisteria Hall's songs such as In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. You can find their music on the Wisteria Hall YouTube page. Download it on Spotify, Apple Music, or Reverb Nation. Hit and like and subscribe. Your partner's name?
Bartman!
Thank you.
There
If
he
you
is.
didn't know it, you're watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen on the Monte The Pharaoh YouTube page and Monte The Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, on the Monte The Pharaoh Twitch TV page. Catch us where you'll see the Godwinns on New York Cable on channel 115. No, this is the new time.
This is the new times?
9:30 on Tuesday and 9 p.m. on Wednesday, and channel 20 at Saturday at 6 a.m. Kind of almost an old wrestling time, right?
Wait a second. What happened to the middle of the night for me?
It's gone, brother.
What
It's
happened?
gone. We'll be
You're a
right
vampire,
back
too?
with
No respect.
these two legends, the Godwinns.
Tag, you're it. See you in a
Boom.
second. And Nitro's Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage. Ask for Jack.
In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offtherrailscoffeeroasters.com.
Oh, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Jimmy, what's going on?
Yeah, nothing much.
You know, Jimmy, I love this country.
Oh.
I love to buy Made in America material. And I love to buy my artwork at TAG, T-A-A-G, Made in America, 14 East Broadway, Port Jefferson, New York, 11717. The shop at the corner. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte The Pharaoh, only seen out of Indie Music TV. At the board is Jared, and he doesn't have his mic up. So, just giving him some props. We have the Godwinns in the house. Yeah, baby.
Don't go messing with the country.
Very
boy.
excited. So, you at the big event. How
Yes.
was it? The big event is one of the biggest wrestling shows in New York. What did you guys do? Did you have a lot of signings? And tell me, how do you feel about the fans still loving you guys after
Oh my
all
God,
these
it was
years?
awesome. Yesterday we were set up with Billy Gunn and Red Velvet.
And on the other side,
On the other side was Daniel Bryan from AEW. On the other side of him was Jose Canseco, who come over
knew
to
who
our
you were.
table
There
yesterday
you go.
and said, I remember you guys. So we took a picture with Jose. It was awesome. A lot of fans.
Shivani was there.
Tony Schiavone.
Did Canseco have anybody online for him after the shit he said about New York last week?
That's what he was telling us.
We
I don't know.
didn't
We
know-
didn't
yeah,
see it.
I would have shot a booger at him if I had gone.
Our view was blocked by Brian Danielson's giant line in front of us.
But how does it feel that you made such a difference in an industry that's loved by so many that people remember you? You know, you guys are in the annals with like Macho Man Savage, Hulk Hogan. You know what I'm
We
saying?
started in the late '80s, I think the people ask me, it's like, oh, what's over? What's over? And this is the perfect example because it has gotten us these things and stuff. To be really over is to have the WWF Corporation pay to fly all of your friends in for your retirement and your Hall of Fame and just get drunk with you and give you like 10,000, give each one of them like 10 grand just to come in like Mr. Undertaker. So they flew us out. We got to do the thing at his retirement, and then we were out of the Hall of Fame. So we kind of got, I even got mentioned in the WrestleMania thing when the Jackass guy took his pants off. Michael was like, it's Naked Minion 2.0. I'm like, so we're kind of in a resurgence right now, yeah.
So Vinnie Mac is not such a bad guy.
I can only treat and tell people about
He was
how
good
they
to us.
treat us. Yeah,
It's been
I
good
love
to
the
you.
guy.
So let me ask you a question. So you guys grew up in an industry where the women weren't so beautiful. So you had the opportunity to meet someone, and you might have thought they were beautiful. I'm just going from my experience.
Compared to the way they look today.
I could spend plenty of time watching the women today,
Wendy Richter.
and had some problems watching the Fabulous Moolah. To be honest with
yeah, oh yeah.
you, I wasn't sporting wood
She's hot.
watching Moolah, right?
Right.
So
Now May, on the other hand,
May was all right.
May.
I got
Someone
a
like-
Bronco Buster.
Someone
from
like
May.
Thunder Rosa,
Yeah,
seeing such a beautiful woman like that, she is beautiful.
we were with her last night.
And you mentioned Shivani.
Yeah.
Where does Shivani rank with you, guys, both,
Yeah.
as the announcers in wrestling? Where does he rank?
He was there when we started together in WCW in '92, so he was a big part of us. I respect Tony. We've known him a long time.
Would you
What do you
consider him
think
one of
of-
the all-time greats?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
Is he underrated because of guys like Gordon Soley and Jim Ross that he almost doesn't
Thank
get
you very
enough?
much for that. I put him at like 3, maybe 4.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Go ahead.
Give me your 3.
Number 1, grew up Tampa, Florida Championship Wrestling.
where this is
My
going.
very first wrestling match. The announcer was the Dean, Mr. Gordon Soley,
Can't
and
argue.
Diamond
Soley.
Dallas Page
He's the
were
best.
the announcers.
Can't argue with that.
I'm going Gordon.
I agree.
I'm going JR.
I agree.
I'm going, dude.
What about Mean Gene?
Mean Gene.
He wasn't really
though.
a play-by-play. He was more an interview
Play-by-play.
guy.
Monsoon and Heenan.
Yeah, great. Michael Cole. We got to put Michael in the top
I agree
5.
with you. I do.
Tanay was good. Lance Russell. Oh my God.
The King.
Do you remember Lance?
Jerry the
King. Oh,
Jerry
absolutely.
Lawler. But Jerry's more of a wrestler
Yeah.
thing. But yeah.
But he brought comedy to
Yeah,
it,
he
the
was the color
entertainment.
guy. Yeah.
How about Crockett?
Yeah, old school, very basic. You know what I mean? What was the guy in Dallas too? Let's see, when I was going back and forth with Memphis, it was Lance and somebody else that I really liked. Coach. Oh, there was a guy called Coach. I forgot what his name was. That was like in the 80s.
I personally love Joey Styles from ECW.
Oh, Joey's
What-
is great. Yeah,
what do I
and a
know?
great
Yeah.
guy. Yeah,
I always love Shivani, but I don't. I put so many guys ahead of him for so many different reasons. Ventura. Ventura is one of the all-time
Love
greats.
Jesse.
He did our
Yeah.
our beach blast.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did a bunch of stuff.
Scorpio and Bagwell.
One of the highlights of our career was not wrestling anybody. We did a pay-per-view in WCW, and Bobby Heenan and Gordon Soley were the announcers. It was like
That's
a
insane.
Slammiversary or something.
Wow.
I'm like, holy crap.
Not for nothing, Vince McMahon himself was an awesome
Vince is
announcer.
great. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Back in the
This-
Bruno days.
Yeah, that
and-
is. You have to trip. Pat
Bruno
Patterson
went to-
wasn't half bad.
Bruno
either.
went to back when Vince McMahon with Pat Patterson
This-
and Bruno Sammartino. That was
this
great.
wasn't in our
Yeah.
questions, but a fan asked, and it's such a good question. I don't know if it's true, and if it's not, just be like, no, it's not true. Were you the last guys to see Brian Pillman alive?
Yes.
We put him to
we
bed.
put him to bed.
Yeah.
Me, Animal, and Tex.
Did you know he was fucked up? Or
Well, of course, he'd been fucked up. Well, I mean, he at that point he was walking around with the morphine pack strapped to his arm with an IV, you know. And one of my favorite, maybe my favorite singles match I ever had was against him in WCW in like '92, and then to see him, you know, he was just. We've seen. I left Puerto Rico thinking I would never see Chris Candido again, you know, and then he cleans up, turns his life around, breaks his ankle, gets on a plane, blood clot, dies. You know, one of my best friends.
is that what actually killed him? Was it the
That's
blood
what
clot
I
that did
am
it?
understanding, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the whole premise of Pillman obviously died of a heart attack, but this was a drug-related
yeah,
heart
of
attack,
course.
right?
Yeah.
Such a shame.
Yeah. Great guy.
What is it about this business? You guys are his friends. You put him to bed. You know he's all fucked up. What is it about this business that this happens to these guys, and how come there's never? It seems like all those years ago there was never any intervention.
Well, back then it was.
I mean, you could
suck it
try to
up,
talk to him as
you
a
know?
friend, but I
Yes.
mean,
No, it got to a point. We had certain things where, like, you know, Taker would like pull somebody and say, "Hey, you're fucking up. You need to get it under control." And I would say, "Yes, sir," and then I would go off and do whatever I wanted.
okay.
But no, it was the, you know, I mean, like Taker got in trouble on Joe Rogan for saying how like when I started, the guys had knives in their back. I was 19 years old in Tampa, Florida, and in that locker room was Blackjack Mulligan, Dusty Rhodes, the Nasty Boys, you know? I literally didn't know I wasn't supposed to get my ass beat in a match for like a year. Nasty Boys were just brutal on me. But I thought that's what it was, and I wanted to be it, so I just stuck it out, and then we got to WCW, and then they came up there, and we were kind of over
Things
in
were
WCW,
different.
and I said to him, these motherfuckers beat my ass for a year. I said, time to turn it on them. So we laid it in, and
Nice.
yeah.
It's
We
been,
were much bigger than them.
So, who comes up with the name the Godwinns? Where did that come from?
Did
Well,
they give that to you when you got there? Or?
yeah. When we got let go from WCW, went up there, met Vince and J.J. Dillon in the little kayfabe office there.
JJ was awake. He wasn't taking a nap.
He dozed off a couple of times.
We had him on a show one time, and I was like, "Is this guy awake?" But go on. Okay, so
So I met with them, and Vince, you know, we talked for 2 or 3 hours. Vince said, "Well, what'd you do?" And I told him, you know, I used to work on a psych floor at the hospital and farmed.
You're
And
lucky that gimmick didn't take off.
hell yeah,
Oh, wait a minute,
two
Norman.
wackos.
Yeah, Norman.
But yeah, and I mentioned the farm, and he says, "Well, because he's a ridge runner,
He's
you know,
a moonshiner.
Carolinas,
country boy.
right?" Yeah. So he said, "Well, what'd you do?" I told him, you know, raised hogs, got cows, chickens, got it all. And he said, "Well, what do you do with the hogs?" I said, "Well, we, you know, just feed them, slop them. We have to castrate them." And so when I said the
See a video of
slopping,
that.
he putting everything together, and he goes,
Genius.
"I like that." So he wanted my initials to be HOG. So
Just got that.
did you?
he's just getting the gimmick. That's so
Wait a
hilarious.
minute.
See, there was a
Biggest
reason you
high
came to
guy,
Monte
man.
and the Pharaoh today.
Oh,
There you go.
Pig.
Okay.
But he said, "Let's go with."
Hey, wait a minute, I'm just getting it. Go ahead. Well, okay, so he's
So
got
he-
hog for you, Henry.
So, yeah, so he said Henry, and he gave me his family's name, Orpheus, for my
Okay.
middle initial.
Okay.
And so that was it. It took off, and then when he came up,
I went to Japan for FMW and went to Memphis with Road Dogg, and then Jerry Lawler pulled me in at a Memphis TV and said, "You're going to, I think it was Stockton, California, to be a partner, to get back together with your partner." Well, cool. So I go to the Royal Rumble, and the very first thing I see is Viscera dropped on him and hurt him, and I walk in the locker room, and Undertaker is just ripping him apart. Because he
Taping his-
broke Taker's orbital socket. He hurt Kevin Nash's back. He just hurt him. I'm like, oh, my fucking
Taker's
taping
wrapping his
fist up.
hands up.
That's his thing. Whenever he wants people to think him serious, like with the Stone
Right.
Cold and
Yeah,
Shawn,
yeah.
taping the fist up, taping the fist.
And what is he doing? What is Viscera
It's
doing?
showing you that I'm getting ready to punch
No,
you.
what is Viscera doing, right? 'Cause
Nothing.
Oh.
He's just like, I'm sorry.
Scared
No.
shitless. Yeah.
Nobody
Really?
said-
And they let him go the next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, and then he was my partner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
you worked with
he-
Viscera a lot, yeah.
He got a lot of chances. I love Nelson. I mean, he was my partner for like, I don't know, 8 months or something.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a giant human
He's a
being.
big dude,
you know?
yeah.
But he was a little reckless sometimes.
Yeah.
And I was like, when Taker, we were doing the ministry, and Taker was like, we're going to bring Viscera in. I'm like, what? Why? He goes, then we don't have to work with him. I was like,
Smart.
fucking genius,
Brilliant.
man.
Brilliant.
Fucking genius.
Well, we've hit 25 years since the Montreal screw job. What do you guys remember about that
We were
time
there.
period?
We lucked out.
Walked
We
right
did
by.
every pivotal one. I was there when Owen died. We were at Montreal. We won the tag team titles during the curtain call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the night of the screw job? Were you guys, what do you guys recall the actual night? You got any stories?
You were
or?
gone, weren't you?
No, I was there.
Was it-
You guys were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of you were there.
Yeah. Honestly, I'll tell you this. Vince did what he had to do. He couldn't take the chance of Brett leaving with the belt and have another, Medusa
Agreed.
thing.
Yeah.
So it's wrestling. I mean, I love Bret Hart. He's one of my favorite people. But there's certain people, Animal, blah, blah, blah. This ain't real. Calm down. If this was real.
But did you hear this rumor going on that there was something that Brett didn't want to drop the title? Were you guys listening to this?
No,
or
we
you
were,
guys knew nothing
at that
about
point, we were showing up buying fucking bags of stuff from
Yeah.
the ring guys. And at that point, we're talking, 97 or something. Dude,
Yeah.
90% of us were just like, we were 285 days on the road. We were just zombies, And that was way above our pay grade. So we, had nothing to do. Vince did the right thing. Why? Oh, he screwed Brett. Yes, maybe. But by doing that, he became evil Mr. McMahon
Right.
with Stone Cold, arguably the greatest time period in wrestling, So
You think
It
that was
might
in
have
his
sucked.
mind, that the foreshadowing of what he planned to do with his own character that
Oh,
that
I don't
factored
think.
in?
No.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I would say that at that point they might have. It was just Bruce, Cornette, depending on the time, Russo, blah blah, like 5 guys. So it was, let's do Raw, let's do SmackDown, then we'll meet and we'll work on next Raw, next SmackDown. Of course, we'll have long story plans for Steve and Taker and blah blah blah. But let's just do, you know what I mean? And now we go there. There's 900 freaking writers and producers and
Right.
shit.
Yeah.
We didn't even have a trainer for most of the time in the WWE in the 90s. I think towards the end we got a guy who would come and tape your ankles and shit, and Francois, the massage guy. But you go there now, it's like a friggin' little ER.
It's a wellness
room,
center.
Yeah.
So we have NXT Training Center run by Shawn Michaels, and you guys had Francois,
Yep.
the massage guy.
Yep.
I
Exactly.
think the business has changed a little bit.
We
over
didn't have, our performance center was fucking Chicago, and then Moline, and then
Right.
blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
your house
You
shows,
work
right?
on the
Right,
road.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Learn on the fly. Good
Yeah.
luck.
Yes, because
Interesting.
nowadays they have every single thing planned out.
Right.
Which is horrible because if something goes wrong, they're lost. They don't know how to improvise.
Right.
They're fantastic at what they do, but they have to have somebody writing. Look at the old promos without writers.
Right.
Look at
Right.
Dusty. Granted, some of them were horrible.
Right.
But Dusty, Macho, you knew your character better than somebody else.
Well, at
so.
least they felt real instead of scripted.
Oh,
Because
and it
viewer's
just
viewer's
sounds-
not fooled by a
It sounds
scripted
terrible
promo.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
My name is la 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 la, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat you.
You can tell. You can tell when someone's trying to remember something
Right.
instead of just
oh,
going
dude,
off
the
the
eyes.
Right.
You can tell when they're trying to
Right.
remember.
You mentioned Road Dogg a couple of times. Road Dogg had mentioned that he never understood what the big deal was with Bret Hart. Road Dogg
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said
He
he was a
literally-
great worker. He said he worked better than me, Road Dogg.
Yeah.
He's like, but I don't think he was a great wrestler. He goes, I thought I was a good
hear it?
wrestler, and
He on his podcast, he said he thought he was actually a better sports entertainer than Bret Hart, and that's
Oh,
where it
100%.
counted.
100%. Better sports entertainer.
So
not
what
a
is the
better
big
wrestler.
deal about Bret Hart? Because I was never a huge fan of Bret Hart myself. I see the greatness, I
Yes.
understand it, but I never gravitated to
Other than him, Road Dogg is my best friend. We lived together. We did everything.
Mm-hmm.
Brian is not afraid to
Yeah.
rock the boat. Brett was a fantastic. Brett would have been a Bruno Sammartino if he maybe would have been about 15 years
That
earlier.
makes sense.
Brett is one of the best in-ring wrestlers of all time. No charisma. Perfect example.
I agree.
Look at Lance Storm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. The
Look
guy
at
can go.
yeah, fantastic guys. Chris Benoit.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Fantastic wrestler.
Right.
Not a whole lot of. That's why you give them a manager or something. You know, Undertaker.
Bobby
he doesn't
Eaton.
talk. Give him
Bobby, a little bit of Bobby.
Bobby freaking Eaton, my idol.
I
man.
thought Hart's mic skills really improved towards the end, though. When he was at Canada, heel, anti-American guy, I
Yeah.
thought he really started to improve.
Sure.
Look, Road Dogg was highly entertaining,
Yeah.
but as far as ring work, and I don't think it's even
No,
close. Right?
the
Yeah,
perfect
no.
example. I told him recently. We were talking about the Armstrong family, and I was like, "Yeah, you're second to last." You know what I mean?
Wow.
It goes Brad, Scott, Bullet, Brian, Steve.
Now, did you know Brad at all?
I've wrestled everyone in
yeah.
that
So
family.
can I ask you a question? That's one of the big secrets too. We, growing up, right?
Yes.
Brad Armstrong.
Yes.
You know the
Brad
deal.
Armstrong is.
He passed away of a heart condition too. But what was this a drug-induced problem too?
I don't, maybe not at that time, but a lot of the guys, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to sometimes, especially with working, I can wait till after work to do it. And I didn't really take any steroids because I found out you had to work out if you took them, and I wasn't doing that shit. So I think all the years of stuff, Davey Boy, or all those guys who didn't die of an actual drug overdose, damaged their heart, damaged their insides beyond repair to where it was just like one day.
So it's a combination, not like you do steroids, fine. You
Yeah.
do some drugs, fine. But if you're doing both,
You mix
Yeah.
everything. It's like
There was a
anything.
lot of that. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a
Little
combination of
rainbows, too.
both, yeah. And on top of drinking.
yeah.
And on top of drinking, and on top of smashing your body. And I mean, back then, dude, when we got to WWE, the fucking rings, because they had to hold Andre and Yoko and that. It was like taking a bump off. They changed them.
We were used to that spongy WCW ring.
Okay.
Come
That
up
shit
there
was
was like
hard. It
getting
sounded like-
slammed on that damn floor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Tell me about you guys starting USWA and like what was it like there? And one question I have for you too is I don't know if PG-13 was there at that time.
Yes.
But did you work with PG-13 and what were your thoughts on both
Did he ever work-
Wolfie
No.
D?
Yeah, he never
and,
worked USWA.
Oh, I thought you- okay.
When I
Yeah.
first started in Florida, I did a little stuff, and then Steve Kern, my trainer, my
Yep.
Yoda, called Lawler and got me. So I'm like 19, and this is in 89, 90. I go there with Dundee and Eddie Gilbert and Eric Embry. We were doing that big Texas thing. They made me Leatherface after I think it was Brian Lee left. And then I was working a program with Brian Christopher back then. And then I came back after WCW, and that's when Wolfie and Jamie were there.
and how were they?
They were all right. They were young little guys who had a huge chip on their shoulder. We were in Puerto Rico, and they didn't want to do something. And Jamie came up on the guy. Lele was one of the wrestlers. He's an actual cop, and Lele means the police or something. And he got pissed at him, so he covered his hands in Bengay and went up behind him and like just rammed his fingers and everything with all the Bengay into the guy's eye. And the guy had to go to the hospital. And they ran and jumped on a plane and flew home. I mean, they're just like the little, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? The little guys, but they were all right. Everybody, see, we were lucky. Everybody was always awesome to us because
They were going to get their asses kicked if they
we're
weren't.
giants. We have been told by management a few times to let some of our opponents know that they are in the wrong. a few
Wow,
times.
look at that.
Yeah.
And then Ronnie and Bradshaw took that job over for us.
When you guys first started with Vince, you were put with Hillbilly Jim. What was it like with who's been on the show? We love Hillbilly.
Great
How,
Hillbilly.
how was
Love
that?
him. Yeah, he helped us so much. What helped us, I think, the most when we first started was we went on this tour with doing 8-man tags, where we were, I was brand new into the character, but didn't matter if we won, whatever. So we were in 8-man tags with the Bushwhackers, and they were like, "Oh, mate, doesn't matter if you win or lose. The bad guy wins. He plays his music. He takes off. They play your music. You grab some people. You dance in the ring. You bring the kids up." He goes, "That's all they were going to remember, and that's all they care about." So that was great. And Hillbilly was the same way. We loved Hillbilly,
Yeah.
even though he never mentioned us in his 18-hour Hall of Fame speech.
Really?
Do you believe that?
I
The Godwinns and Hillbilly
Wow.
Jim.
I did not
He
know
literally talked for 30-some minutes, didn't mention us one time.
I remember they mentioned us on our show. Well, but we're not the Hall of Fame, I guess.
Did you give him a buzz afterwards? Like, yo, did you forget
I haven't
somebody?
talked to him in years.
Really?
Love him though. I mean, just breaking
Right.
balls.
So you win the tag team title against the Body Donnas, right? You
Madison
mentioned
Square
your
Garden.
friends
Madison Square
with
Garden.
Candido and Dr. Tom
Is
Pritchard.
that a house show?
Yes,
Yeah, it was a house show.
It's
Yeah.
a house
Yes, it
show.
was.
Wow.
Was
Okay.
Pritchard in the office at the time, or was he just a straight
Bruce?
wrestler at that time? No.
No.
Tommy? No,
Tommy.
he just wrestled. Yeah.
So how was it working with both of those guys?
Me and Chris knew each other for like years before that, worked a million times. And when I was in USWA the first time with Tom Pritchard, so we were already, very, very tight. Tom's one of our best friends. We were just with him last weekend, 2 weekends ago.
Two
So
weeks ago.
you kind of fell into this question, right? You're good friends with Candido.
Dun, dun,
He's
dun.
in a relationship with Sonny.
Yes.
She's
We all
out.
lived in a hotel room together.
Okay.
Me, him, and her, yeah.
They were bang. Clearly, she was bang. From what I've been told, she was banging
By
all
a
these
lot of-
other guys in
lot
the
of
locker
wrestlers.
room.
Yeah.
You're friends with Chris. You're close with Chris.
Yes.
Aren't you like,
Okay.
Chris,
All
what
right.
the Please fill me in.
Yes.
Fill in the blanks.
I mean, I knew, and I hated her for it, but Chris knew. I mean, Chris knew, and we knew he knew, and he wasn't going to do, so I just wasn't going to rub it in his face, and she was horrible. And somebody asked my partner a few times to stand outside the locker room door while he was in there with Miss Tammy.
I knew
And who was
Who
that?
would that be? Let's see. Who was having
Sean?
sex? Who?
Shawn Michaels, maybe?
Sean
Not that
Douglas?
guy.
Is
He
that
only
Shane
shoots-
Douglas? No.
Stand still for Jesus. Shawn
He
Michaels.
only shoots deers, doesn't he? I mean, what are we talking here?
So he would. So
Wow.
was Sean scared of Candido?
Absolutely not. Sean is not scared of anything. Yeah.
Because of Vince?
No, because of Sean's one of those little guys surrounded by. He's like the kicker on the football team that just hangs out with the linemen and is always the first one to start a fight and is always the first one to do it because he's got 6 giants that are always with
So
him.
he's the little guy who says at the pool table, "I'm going to go get my friend Harvey,"
Yeah.
and he's even bigger than I am.
Yeah.
Oh.
When Kevin Nash started
Okay.
there, Sean goes, "You're going to be my bodyguard," and I mean that not just in the ring. You're going to be
Real
my
life.
bodyguard all the time. People hate us.
Were you
Right.
guys scared of Kevin Nash?
No, we knew Kevin
Yeah,
from
we knew
Atlanta
Kevin from
back in the
WCW.
Oz day. He's lived in our apartment building in Atlanta. Check this out. Us, Sid Vicious next door, Kevin Nash, Steve Regal,
Max
Max
Payne.
Payne, Eric Watts. Penthouse was Wyndham, Greg Gagne, and Mike Graham. That's one apartment building.
Wow.
Now, did you
Yeah.
personally have anger towards Sean for what he was doing to your friend, even though your friend
Not
didn't
at all.
care?
Wasn't Sean's fault.
Did you ever get in Sonny's face? You
Nope.
bitch.
Nope.
Did you ever? How hard was it with Chris though? You must have tried to say something to him. I mean,
No, I didn't. I always kept it. Why am I going to make my friend upset and angry?
did Chris hold on to her for? Besides the emotional attachment, obviously,
loved
to her, did he hold on to her for business reasons because she looked good in the ring with him?
Possibly,
I mean,
especially since when she became bigger than he was.
Right.
But
He did love her though.
he loved her. I memean, we lived in a hotel room. When
is it
they
love
were
or
like
obsession
19.
when you're allowing somebody to do shit like
I
that?
know.
Yeah, it's
I know
horrible.
it's terrible.
I guess I get it. We had Scott Hall, and God rest his soul. He
Yes.
said, "Wasn't my business.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't matter to me."
Exactly.
Right.
But I still love Chris, and I wanted to make Chris happy whenever I was with him, and I wasn't going to bring that up. And you're like, oh, well, how can you do that? Okay, I was in a business where, honestly, I know of 2 guys who never cheated on their wives. So it was just sex.
Yeah.
And that's how I train. I mean, I'm single. I don't have any kids. And I was like always the single guy, so I carried the rubber so people would come in.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
But it's just, sex and love are 2 completely different things, in my
Right.
opinion.
Sure.
And
Sure.
when I was going through wrestling school, I worked at Mons Venus and Odyssey in Tampa strip clubs. So I've been around that, and sex and love are 2
So
different
Naked
things.
Midian always brought a raincoat.
Is it-
very, very
Yeah.
responsible of you, Naked
Is
Midian?
there any part of you
Nice.
now that
Nice.
that kind of feels happy to what has happened to Sonny
No,
now
not
in
at
her
all.
life?
Not at all. Not at all justified because she doesn't learn.
You're not
Didn't
surprised?
learn.
not
Not
su-
surprised at all.
Okay.
I don't, she deserves to be there, but she's still my friend, and you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
They should have given her consequences instead of letting her keep
What
going
was
and
it,
going
3 or
and
4 of
going
them?
and
Like,
going.
without
That's
this
a lot.
Now she's
Yeah.
killed somebody.
Now she killed
and,
somebody,
You know.
There's a bunch.
They want to
There's a
kill somebody
bunch.
in Atlanta.
Hey, I'm Dennis from another.
Good
Okay,
times, guys.
the other day we had Chris Moultrie. Noticed the job guy. He has worked. Chris Moultrie.
He was in AWA, one of the
He was in
you know,
enhancement
early
talent.
'80s, and
Sure.
he came to
Which he doesn't like
WWE.
being
Larry
called.
Horowitz, Mike
Yes,
Sharp kind
right,
of guy.
Yep,
Yeah.
back in those times.
Right,
yes.
and he had mentioned that the Road Warriors were just absolute brutes, especially in the beginning of their career. Green as could be, were just
Oh,
you didn't
yeah.
want to get in the ring
Yeah.
with them. Nobody wanted to get in the ring with them, and unfortunately,
Henry.
Henry, you got injured really bad against the Warriors. Any thoughts on the Warriors about how
And
dangerous?
then a week later, they asked me to take the same thing.
Are
but
you
he just-
kidding me?
Yeah. Pat Patterson and Gria pulled me into the shower, and they're like, "Hey, do you think you can take
Get
it?"
the
I'm like, "Yeah, I can take it."
oh. Any thoughts on the Road Warriors? I mean,
We got along with them. We love
Accidents
both of
happen.
them, but
Yeah.
damn, relax. You know,
Yeah.
it's a work.
Yeah.
And
did they come to you after you were injured? Did they say, "Hey, we're sorry," or did they show
yeah,
any?
they said they were sorry, but you know,
They're
it's
rough.
wrestling.
Yeah.
It's rough. Shit happens. Before I knew Hawk wasn't in the best shape, so I just mentioned to the office I don't feel comfortable taking the.
Oh, did you? I didn't know.
Yeah, and then he spoke up and said, "I'll take it. I've taken it before." And they went back, and Pat Patterson and somebody else, I can't remember exactly, come back and said they want Henry to take it. And I said, "Well, how about we just do the where we
Oh,
both go down?"
Electric chair.
Right.
Said, "No, they want the flip." And you know, I didn't stooge nobody out. I went ahead and took it and broke my neck.
Do you regret it?
Huh?
Do you regret it?
Because of
Yes.
Southern
Well, you know,
Justice
you
was
mentioned that
explained-
Mike
yeah.
Hamstrong was
Yeah.
not in great shape, so I'm assuming he was high during the match.
Yeah.
So, do you regret it? And I'm shocked you're not angry.
Yeah,
but-
I regret it because I should have put my foot down, but you know,
I
Dennis,
only did that
Dennis, is
one
there
time.
any safe way to take that finishing
Yes.
maneuver? What is
I-
the safe way? They're flipping you
Yes,
over as they're hitting
I'll
you.
explain it to you. I don't think I would have been a wrestler if I went to the power plant or something like that.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to be trained by Dusty, Steve Kern, Mike Graham, wrestlers. They taught me how to wrestle. They taught me how to take bumps. They taught me how to do shit. Steve said, he jokes and said that he had more frequent flyer miles when he worked with him and the Fabs worked the Road Warriors. And then we actually had, you know, they were monsters. They were huge, but then we all started getting bigger. And we actually have the distinction of being one of the only people that the Road Warriors asked the office for us to take it easy on them. Yeah, we would do.
we used to have the
punching-
strap matches.
Strap
I
matches,
mean,
would
and
be
we had them with
headbangers and us
had
beat
them with the
fuck
Harris
out of each
twins.
other.
We beat the shit out of each
Yeah.
other.
We were crazy and giants, so it just helped.
Even
But the way to train it,
Slapped the guy in Worcester.
they do the fan
The
dude, yeah.
fan
When
spit
you
through
can just
something at
hit
him.
people, yeah. On that, okay, I will diagram how to safely take that. Okay, what everybody does is you have the electric chair. You're sitting on Joe's shoulders.
Right.
And Joe is going to put his hands underneath your knees.
Right.
And when Mike makes the connection, he's going to push up so you flip. All right, now if you're sitting like this, you're going to flip directly like this and have the opportunity of boom, banging off your head, boom, and then back because it's a straight line. Well, using math and physics, the stupid pig farmer says, what you do is, or what I always did, when I was up there, I would lean this way just a little bit on his shoulders. So when Mike hit me, I would turn and go that way as opposed to just over. I would kind of roll instead of flip over.
Okay.
I was a mad. People loved giving me their finishes.
This might be a very stupid question, but why was it so necessary? You said you were going to take it.
Yeah.
Why was it so necessary that you had to take
I
it?
never figured that out.
I have a theory on that.
Go ahead.
I love taking finishes. I always kind of thought laying underneath the guy, the 1, 2, 3, the bigger the athlete, you know, Rock, Stone Cold, and then they get that giant pop. It's kind of like my pop a little bit too. So I always took it. So every once in a while, just to, you know, I was like, I didn't give a fuck. Every once in a while, they would like, oh, make him, you know, do it. Just, I'm like, dude, they're working. It's working fine. You know, don't mess with it. But it's like kind of a thing, I think. At least that's all I thought. But
Yeah.
Maybe they felt like if you kept taking it, it was like you became the weak point of the team, so someone else.
oh
had it.
no, I had no idea. I'd get my ass beat all day, all night, and I would still be fine.
Okay.
Just give me a couple minutes after the match or whatever to get my heat back or get my baby face back or whatever. I'm fine.
You know, you
mule
mentioned
kick.
Mike Graham.
The mule kick.
Did you have a relationship with Mike Graham at all?
Oh yes, yeah.
So how did it affect you when he took his life?
It was weird. Me and Kern kind of always talked about that because Eddie killed himself. Mike's dad killed him. You know, Eddie Graham, Mike's dad, killed himself. Mike's son killed himself a few years ago, and Mike always said, "Yeah, I'm going to kill myself." You know,
Wow.
it's suicide is genetic, for lack of a better word, I think.
Seems to
And
be
I was on the
some
road.
cases.
We were doing the Godwin stuff. We were still, I think we just turned bad. And I came home off the road. My cousin was living with me. And I opened the door, and the bottom was locked. And I'm the only one that had the key for that. So I thought somebody was in there. My cousin's truck was in there. I went in there, turned into my bedroom, and he was sitting next to my bed. He had shot himself in the head. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know if that might be from his father's side because all of us. And then I found out that his grandfather killed himself and another person killed himself. So, I mean, I think it's some kind of genetic. It might be a depression genetic as opposed to a suicidal genetic, but yeah, shit. I mean, he always said he was going to do it, and he ended up doing it.
Wow.
I don't mean to jump to this, but did you watch the WWF growing up?
Well, I watched.
Old Georgia.
Yeah, I was NWA.
NWA.
Florida and
Yeah,
Georgia
Florida. I
championship.
occasionally got, but then when we came in, yes. I mean,
Well, so the weird question is this. Back, we had Sullivan in here. And
my godfather.
so-
He took care of me and taught me so much on the road.
Well,
yeah.
you mentioned Kern,
Yeah.
and Sullivan brought up the fact that Kern was supposed to become WWF champion instead of Bob Backlund. And so my question, since you didn't watch it,
Yeah,
the point's
no.
moot, right? But I was going to ask, do you think Kern could have made a good champion up here, or do you think that would have been a mistake?
No, I think Steve could do anything. I mean, look, he was the Doink for a while. He was Skinner. He was Bobby, he was Pretty Boy. Steve's a chameleon. He can do anything. I think what Steve Kern does better than anyone on the planet is train people. FCW, when they first started down there, look who went through him. Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, everybody. And I went to his school, and he had a school after I left, and I kind of helped him. Because he's like, oh, I wish I had the thing. I have a piece of laminated paper that has Wrestling Holds checklist, like 15 things, and you have to perform all of those to his satisfaction, and he'll check them off before you graduate. So I think he's just... he's my
So,
everything.
quick answer, you think he could have carried the belt
Of
here
course you
and,
could
and
have,
filled
yeah.
Madison
Yeah.
Square
I think
Garden?
anyone can carry the belt if you have the company or the machine behind you.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Except for maybe David Arquette or Bischoff or Vince.
There you go. You guys were there for the curtain call, as you mentioned. Did it, in your minds, ruin the business, the curtain call?
Go ahead.
That was the night we won the tag team titles against the Body Guns, we just said.
So everybody thought it was real that you won the tag team titles, and he just ruined it for you guys.
Yeah,
too.
Exactly,
well,
right?
you
Two
were right.
giant hillbillies. Oh my God, they finally beat these two little tiny guys. Thank God. Yeah, hey, guess what? It wasn't real, any
It's
of it.
real.
But no, I don't. See, that's a weird thing about us too. We were the social butterflies. We were BSK, go out with Taker and all that, and then the next night we're putting Sean to bed. The next night we're with Hunter and China. We're all friends. There was this whole thing about BSK and Click got to, join or became because they were fighting each other. We all hung around each other.
Oh, so that's a good point. I was going to say,
Yeah.
did the BSK get pissed off at you? Like, what are you doing with these guys?
Never.
Everybody was okay with each other.
Nobody, us. Other people got shit for certain things. We kind of were untouchable on a lot of stuff.
So the click was good to you, but did you notice them being nasty
Horrible
assholes to
a lot of
everybody
people.
else?
Yeah,
They were.
Totally. This is funny. This came from Vince McMahon, and now that he's not there, probably doesn't matter. Sean back then in his Sean days would come in, and Vince would tell him what they wanted, and Sean was like, "Fuck the blah 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 blah," and storm out, and then he would come find us, and then we would take him out and get him high. And then go back to the building, and he would walk back into the office with Vince and do whatever Vince wanted him to do. And somebody with the initials BKM said, I should probably start paying for you guys' weed because you're helping me out so much.
Are you serious?
That's
Yeah.
great. That's
Jokingly,
So what,
of
like
course.
a pound of pot showed up the next day?
I
Like,
wish.
see Sean at 2
Right?
p.m. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
What the?
But rumor has it that Taker did not like Sean.
No,
right?
hated him.
So when you're hanging out with Sean, is
Okay.
Taker like, what the? you know, because he's close with you guys,
we're
right?
unicorns. We do whatever we wanted. We had friends everywhere. We were friends with everyone. But sometimes we
But
get
always
stay away.
loyal to
Always
BSK.
loyal to BSK, yeah.
Who had more power and when did it switch? Because obviously Undertaker ultimately became Vince's guy, but at the
Different
time,
kind of power.
did Shawn have more power than
Yes.
Taker?
Different kind of power. Taker always had the steady as an oak. Always going to do what Vince wants.
Right.
Going to make anything work. Shawn was like
Shawn was the rock
a freaking
star.
Rottweiler and the Chihuahua just running around. Calm the Chihuahua down. Give him whatever he wants. Just keep him cool. You know, that was kind of the thing.
Interesting.
Shawn was the champion. It was a different kind of power, but
Yeah,
I
it
would
was
say
different.
equal. Yeah.
Okay.
Taker could shut anything down at that point if he wanted to.
He could.
I'm pretty sure.
He
yeah.
could overrule Shawn's situation by
He
going
could
to Vince.
overrule
Vince would
everyone,
listen
yeah.
to Taker.
He has several times gone and had
Interesting.
to sit down with Vince, and only
Straighten
person I
things
know
out,
of that's
yeah.
ever had to straighten Vince. Like after the Montreal screw job, Vince was in his thing afterwards. Brett was in his thing, and Taker went to Brett, talked to Brett, went to Vince, and said, "Vince, you need to get up and you need to go over there and deal with this right now. You're probably going to get punched in the face, but you deserve it. So go and take it like a man." And Vince got up and went and got
took it
punched
like
in the face. Yeah.
Wow.
So you speak about two factions. Let's talk about the Nation of Domination. What was your guys' experience with all, you know, the
Godfather,
Rock,
his family.
Godfather?
Ron
Yeah,
Simmons,
BSK.
we were WCW with him.
WCW.
D'Lo, one of my favorite people to wrestle.
Yeah.
Mark Henry, one of the awesomest, nicest guys you'll ever meet.
How about Ahmad Johnson?
Terrible. Everybody hated Ahmad.
Why?
He was he didn't get it. He didn't get what we were doing. This isn't real.
It's not real.
And a
yeah.
lot of his muscles were implants.
Were they really?
Yes, he's a big guy, but the muscles were implants. And of course, you guys have probably heard the story about him being pissed in the locker room and wanting to show off, and then picking. It was like Rocky and Ron and Papa and that, and D'Lo laughed at him, and he was like, "Oh, I better do something." So he went after D'Lo, and D'Lo fucked him up.
Really?
Yeah, they had to pull D'Lo off of him. It was awesome. He just didn't get it. He thought the character Ahmed Johnson was real. Like one time, Animal told me, "What's your record?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, what did you say?" He said he knew his record. He goes, "What's your record?" I said, "I don't know. I know I lost a hell of a lot more matches than you did, but dude, this shit ain't real." And Brett, the Hart's kind of, you gotta love that though, because they're that such dedication to the business.
They loved it.
The
right?
loyalty to protect. You have to protect it. And we always saw that, and then, kind of like the internet and Vince and everybody. So,
Was there any
generation.
uproar? Was there any uproar in the locker room in the weeks that followed the curtain call? Like a guy like Bret Hart, wouldn't he walk into Vince and be like, "You let these motherfuckers do this"? I mean, did you catch any of that?
well, the problem and the reason that all happened, I think, was you got Kevin and Scott are leaving.
Right.
Does not matter. Shawn is world champion. He's untouchable. So it all just hangs on, Hunter.
Hunter, yeah.
Nobody really gave a shit about it in the back because those guys are gone. Shawn. Hunter, took, which actually in a whole nother, multiverse, Hunter got in trouble. He was going to win King of the Ring. So they pulled that from him. The new winner of King of the Ring is,
Stone Cold.
and then what happens to Stone Cold?
Gold.
Although Hunter was I think the delay didn't affect him at all. Look at him, for the love of God.
Well, it all worked out, right?
Love that guy.
Okay, the Bone Street Crew. How's Taker as a person? Fill the folks in, because Taker's such a mythical
dick.
figure to the fans sitting at home. How is this guy in real life?
We honestly have never met him. I'm sorry. Who?
Undertaker?
Undertaker?
Okay.
No, he's yeah,
Next question.
yeah. He's Undertaker. Road Dogg called him Cool Hand
He's
Luke.
like this in real life. You call him on the phone. He's like,
Well, no, but he's Cool Hand Luke. He's not the dead guy. He's just James Dean. He's fucking
James Dean?
Yeah, Brando.
Wow,
He's
this guy
the
is cool
coolest guy.
personified.
John Wayne. Yeah, he is.
Ron Wayne.
And yeah,
John
he
Wayne, yeah.
doesn't.
Ron Wayne.
He and beside, I think Andre. Can you know of anyone who has more respect from every single person than him?
No.
No.
Yeah, and he's our friend.
Was it always there? Like, from the moment you guys came into that locker room, there he is. He was already the
Yeah.
man. Because once
So when
upon a
did he get
time he
there,
was an
90?
underbooked, misused
Yes.
fellow in WCW. I
Of
mean,
course.
where does it all change for him?
It changes why somebody in a different company going, hey, you know what? I got an idea.
I see something in you.
That idea is,
Right.
hey, Mean Mark Callis, who's not going to draw anything according to Ole, is now the greatest character in wrestling of all time. Hey, Stunning Steve Austin. Well, we don't think we have anything for him.
Right.
Hey, look at me, you know?
Was there any point that Taker said to you guys hanging out, he goes, you know what, man, I think we're going to lose. I'm jumping to WCW.
Never, not once, no. Did you hear something?
Uh-oh. Wait, what'd you hear?
Was he fielding offers?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, at one time it was brought up between just our little group, you know, and he was talking about, if I go, everybody's going. So, but, you know, thank God it didn't. Look what happened.
You
I
guys,
held it out.
you guys saw what Vince did with Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
You saw what he did with Mark from, the WCW days. So I ask you, Vince McMahon, genius, asshole, or both?
Both, but
All the above?
But we like him. But look at the opportunity he give us. We didn't get that in WCW.
Right.
We got used and abused down there. Even
Right.
Arn said,
Yeah.
"You guys
Oh,
are
you
too
did.
good at
Yeah,
putting
yeah,
everybody over."
Right.
Yeah.
So when we got together up there, we had an opportunity to do our thing finally.
Were you guys shocked or not shocked at the confirmed allegations that ended up forcing Vince McMahon's retirement? Or was that something you knew was going
In
on
this
for a long
business,
time?
nothing shocks me.
Nothing
ever.
shocks you.
Yeah.
Vince
I mean,
went around with the ladies a lot back in the day. This is no revelation
I
to
never
you?
saw it.
Never saw
We
it.
never saw it. Whenever he came out, he was always in the middle of us drinking shots and getting, chopped by the Nasty Boys, or he
Rip
was
Rogers.
he was one of the
we
boys.
even put little Shaney Mac to bed one
Yeah,
night. He hung
yeah.
out with the BSK.
If you guys were called, the Hall of Fame, if you were asked to speak at Vince McMahon's eulogy, what would you say?
I loved him. He was like one of my favorite human beings.
He
of
was
all
good
time.
to us.
He
Give
was
us a
to
good
us.
opportunity. Treated us fair.
Hell of a kisser.
Good
There you
kisser.
go. That's the most
Great
important
guy.
part. All right, so I want to thank you guys for joining us.
Pucker up.
Incredible interview. You got any message out there for the millions of fans that love what you've done for this business in so many different roles? And, you got anything to say to the fans?
Yes. AOC 2024. Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, my God. You gave him the forum to say that?
He just swung the pendulum.
I want to give a shout out to our buddy Brian Martin in Nashville. He's a up and coming singer. He's just come out with a song, "We Ride," but he also come out with a song called "Fuck Around and Find Out."
Say his
So
name again.
Brian Martin,
Brian Martin.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Average Joe's Entertainment, run by
Nice.
Colt Ford.
Yeah, you could
I've heard of
record
Colt
in the studio.
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys again. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
What a
Thank you guys.
I want to thank everybody for joining Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, where you can catch us on the Monte The Pharaoh YouTube page or Monte The Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor. Catch us on New York Cable, where you'll see the reduced version of the Godwinns in studio on channel 115 and channel 20. Any parting words, Pharaoh?
Yeah, vote Monte in the Pharaoh in 2024. Thank you.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Thank you all. We'll see you
Thanks,
Thursday.
guys. Thank you.